Hello, dear student. This is Amir Khan, your social studies teacher. Today, our topic is on Pakistan's chronology 1970 to 2008. So, what you will learn about the overview of the government of Pakistan from 1970 to 2008, about the civilian and military rulers in Pakistan. Then we will discuss about the reason of the partition of East and West Pakistan. Then the developed timelines of the government of Pakistan from 1970 to 2008. If we start from here, that in 1970 there was one country. The election of 1970, the East and West Pakistan were one countries. Where what happened after that election? What the Awami League, who won mostly seats from the East Pakistan, and from West Pakistan, Pakistan People's Party won majority seat from West Pakistan. So what happened over here, that demands which Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was demanding from that West Pakistan, which was not fulfilled. So what happened, it make a disturbance in the politics, it make conflicts between the two East and West Pakistan. And what happened, and what benefit taken by the India were taking benefit, and they interfere over here. They were not giving the ban of flight from across the borders of for Pakistan. So it was too difficult to move from the seaside to reach to here in 1970 and in 71. So what happened, it was too distant. Thousands of the soldiers were arrested by the Indian. So it was too difficult for the Pakistan to manage this. So what happened, this make East Pakistan into Bangladesh. So what happened, and then in 1971, that Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was the era from 1971 to 77, which actually start of two concepts of socialism and nationalization. So what happened, that socialization means which accepted by the society, which make upset by the Muslim leaders. Then what happened, nationalism upset by the rich people. Like nationalism means to take private industries and private assets into public ownership. So what it was difficult for the rich peoples or the businessmen, they upset them to take their private into public ownership. So then what happened, till to 1977, these concepts were made by the Bhutto. Then in 1978, what happens if General Ziaul Haq become a president and imposed Sharia law. And what Sharia law was, they make interest-free banking and zakat systems for the Muslim countries. Then in 1971, what happened, that they dismissed that Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's government. So what happened over here, that Zulfikar Ali Bhutto death sentences was carried out in 1979. And what happened over here, another problem was started in 1979. The Russia invaded Afghanistan. So what happened, millions of Afghan refugees fled into Pakistan, which resulting of crisis for our countries. Then what happened over here, Zia accepted a huge sum of aid from these were the refugees. Then what happened, the refugees which Afghans entered into the countries, and Zia accepted the huge sum of some from the USA, and make in return to support Western power, which was not in the human rights issues for the General Zia's government. So then after that, what happened, that in 1988, in 1984, that Zia held a referendum over here to again start Islamization policies, return as a presidency till to 1990. So what happened, that referendum again Zia come to the power. Then after in 1988, Benazir Bhutto, daughter of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, returned to Pakistan in 1986. She was exiled into UK. Then in August 1988, President Ziaul Haq was killed in suspicious airplane crash among some of the army staffs and US ambassador Arnold Raffel. He was also with the Ziaul Haq, General Ziaul Haq. Then there was election held in 1988. Benazir Bhutto, who became the first woman prime minister of Pakistan. Then there's a presidency. Ghulam Isa Khan was the presidency of in 1988. What happened in 1990? After 2 years, uh, this was the elections campaign was started between the two, Benazir Bhutto in 1988. Then what happened over here, that Zia plane crash was there. Zia, then what happened, that crash happened in Bahawalpur, 17 August 1988. Then in the election, that Benazir come into the power, and she in 1988, and when in 1990, what happened over here, that President Isa Khan dismissed the Bhutto's government because of that ground corruptions were there. Election were held again, and who come to the power? Nawaz Sharif come to the power in 1990, and he start the privatization systems for the Pakistan. So because of that, in 1990, that he start a that privatizations of that government which Bhutto was started nationalization. Then what happened in 1913, that the president dismissed Nawaz Sharif his parliament because of Nawaz appeal for the constitution, like both they again appeal for that. So what happened, that the president and the prime minister were better, that government was at the stand still, both agreed to resign together, like prime minister and president were resigned together. New election was held again in 1993, and Farooq Lagari as a president. Then relation with India was restored, and both countries admitted to having nuclear capabilities in 1933. They have started of that. Then in 1960, 1906 or 1997, that President Lagari dismissed Bhutto and her government. At the end, in 1993, Benazir Bhutto was again come to the power in 1993. Then in 1996, that President Lagari dismissed that Bhutto's government. At the end, that what happened, new election brought again as formally, that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif come back to the power with a huge majorities. So what happened, they give exports industries, boost of exports industries, and reduce of price and give people job. So Pakistan borrowed a huge sum of money from IMF and the World Bank to boost funding of economy. President Lagari unexpectedly resigned in 1997, then, and was replaced by Nawaz Sharif friend Muhammad Farooq Tarar, who reinforced the prime minister power. So then in 1998, that Pakistan tested a nuclear power in 1998 at where, at Balochistan, and it was successfully in Balochistan Chagi, it was successfully done. Then in 1999, what happened over here, that in 1999 Benazir Bhutto and her husband were found guilty in corruption of Pakistan, sentenced in prison about US 8.6 million US dollar. So then what happened in 1999, they were prison for that. Then in 1999, who come to the power, that General Pervez Musharraf, Chief of Army Staff, was one of the commercial flight that Nawaz Sharif were not allowed to land. That what happened, even the fuel was too low, but it was not Nawaz Sharif were not allowing Pervez Musharraf for that. So what happened over here? That again Musharraf come to the power, and he start that